So hey guys, welcome to a winter night ride. So we're out on the fat bike. We're riding to some trails tonight to do our ride. It's Saturday evening. I'm going to try and do 3 hours trail riding. So it's a long night ride. I can't tell you the temperature yet because my Garmin was in the house at room temperature, so it takes 10-15 minutes before it's actually reading the true outside temperature as the unit cools off. Just a few minutes away from our first bit of trail. It's snowing a little bit. Well, the forecast says we're not supposed to really get an accumulation from this, but was it 2-3 days ago we got a decent little dump of snow. So we're definitely back to winter wonderland status here, and some real winter temperatures. I think we saw minus 28 Celsius 2 mornings ago. So we're here behind the LPH now. I have to admit I prefer coming in here at night because it's a popular place for people to come and walk their dogs, and when it's snowy, basically it becomes single track, and it's a pain in the ass passing people, coming up on people. So if you come here at night, you pretty much have the place to yourself. So like I said, we're going to try and ride for 3 hours. So my lights at high, which is 1300 lumens, it says they could last for 3.5 hours, but it's well below freezing, so I don't believe they would survive on high for 3 hours. So I have them at 1300 lumens. I have them one step down, which is 900 lumens each, so that should survive the 3 hours at these temperatures. And then my headlamp, I have one step down from high. Not exactly sure what it is in lumens, can't really find it anymore, but my manual. But I don't think it'll survive 3 hours because the battery is old. It's gone through many cycles, and it's cold out. So I suspect my headlamp will die before the ride's over. That's fine. I've got so many lumens on the bar now that this headlamp is almost unnecessary. I still like to have it, especially when you're riding on streets, because it allows me to look at cars and shine a light inside cars, make sure they see me. This section here, it's out in the open in a field, and it gets really windblown here sometimes. Like during the day and early evening when people come in here and walk their dogs, it'll get nicely packed down, but overnight it can get so windblown that the trail essentially disappears, becomes unrideable. It's beautiful right through here. So we're leaving one trail system and now we're going to enter another one. That's beautiful. Yeah, pretty slow. Won't go very far today in our 3 hours. Okay, we've been out for 30 minutes. And the current temperature is minus 17.5 C. Forecast is that it's supposed to hit minus 21 tonight, so I expect the temperature will continually drop as we're out here. But it shouldn't be too bad because we're in the bush and I'm well dressed. I have my Lake MX303s on, but I have insulated shoe covers over top of them. So an insulated shoe with the insulated shoe cover, so hopefully toes don't get cold. And I got big bulky gloves on with my Skins hand protectors, so the extremities should be fine. I would say, especially if you're going to come in here and do a long ride, better to come here at night, because you have the whole place to yourself. Especially in snow like this, you can't ride any faster in the daytime than you can at night, so not like you're going to ride faster during the day. Just come here at night, not have to worry about people and their dogs, and dogs not on leashes. It's just a regular problem here. You know what, once we get to the top of this little knoll here, we're gonna, actually we'll do it right here. We're gonna lower tire pressure a little. Okay, the battery died like 35 minutes into our ride. That particular battery, sorry, I'm just gonna take a leak here. That battery I accidentally put through the washing machine. It was in a pocket of one of my jackets. It went through the wash, and then I was wondering if it was gonna end up being damaged by that. And it looks like it still works, but seems to have shortened its life. I'm going to try to not stop so much on this ride, because we didn't start this ride till 8 o'clock, and so we won't be done till 11 at night. But when you gotta pee, you gotta pee, and lowering the tire pressure should make things a bit better. And it immediately is a noticeable difference. Especially on the rear. Climbing traction is noticeably improved by lowering the pressure. What I was doing before is breaking through. Beautiful. Yeah, even after 2 days, still pretty soft in here. Got a really steep climb here to go up. Short and steep. Made it. Going upstream, so slow going, but the other direction is actually fairly fast. And coming here in the daytime in the winter, you can't really enjoy it because, oh yeah, gorgeous. That's an Instagram photo there. What was I saying? You can't really enjoy it because there's so many people. You have to slow down. You come here at night, place is pretty much all yours except for fat bikers. Yeah, this one will just be for my Strava ride, really. That didn't turn out that great, but the other thing, there's shitty cell service in here. We're not even 5K from, we're just like, as the crow flies, we're like maybe even 3 kilometers from the city proper, you could say, and already there's shitty cell coverage here. Alright, so now we're on the snowmobile trail. know why these bridges have to be so steep. But so snowmobiles have been through here already. It's still really slow conditions for some reason. Beautiful. What else was I going to talk about? Yeah, my cycling goals for 2016. So I'll say right now my goal this year is 20,000 kilometers. That's what I'm going to try for. So I think it's possible, and I don't really have to do anything totally hardcore or start getting hardcore about it till cycling season proper, meaning once the snow's gone. I think last January I did 700 something K, and I'll already be past that by the end of next week, so I should get 1,000 K this month in full-on winter conditions, and as long as I get like 200, 250 K more than I did last year in January and February, I'll already be ahead of where I was last year. And it gives me motivation to do some long rides again too this summer. So I'd say preliminary plan is once a month do 200 kilometers Saturday and Sunday. So 200 kilometers Saturday and Sunday. Do that once a month in May, June, July, August. That'll get me an extra boost of kilometers. I don't think I have to do anything crazy except just ride a decent amount to get 20,000 K. And right now in the winter time, my ride to work is my secret weapon. It's basically by get home around 5:30, and I've essentially already done an hour and a half of riding. So I really don't need to do any more if I do that 4 days a week. If I'm feeling up to it, I can go out again in the evening. It's like 26, 27, 28 K a day. So if I do that 4 days, you know, we already got 100 K going into the weekends, which is nothing in spring, summer, but wintertime, you can average 20 K an hour, you're doing good. That's the other thing with Strava now and Zwift. It looks like Strava is actually allowing people to use the data from Zwift for their yearly totals. So even for climbing, the Zwift is considered a real to Strava. Like, that's totally lame in my opinion. So I know one guy that has almost as much vertical as me this month. He hasn't ridden outside even once. It's all been Zwift. And his average speed for the month is higher than mine. He's just a pretty casual rider. Like, so he's averaging 26, 27, 28 K an hour on his Zwift rides. Whereas the reality of where he lives, if he was to come right outside like I do, I mean, I have trouble averaging 20 K an hour in these conditions, and he would be easily 5-6 K an hour slower average than I do, and he has no winter riding experience. I think it's lame that Strava is allowing them to use that. What all Strava cares about is more users, not the honor of riding. Like, yeah, you can record the time. Another photo for Instagram. Like, sure, record the time for your yearly hours, for sure. But kilometers, hell no. Yeah, what the hell was I talking about there? Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can say I'm being a crybaby about it, but I'm the one that's actually going outside, risking my life driving in traffic, riding in traffic, risking frostbite, taking real risks for real rewards. And people, fair weather riders, or hell, some even have more. If you look at their Strava, they have more kilometers. Other people that live in northern climates have more kilometers in vertical than I do, because they've just been Zwifting instead of actually riding outside. Beautiful here. Obviously, I'm complaining about nothing really, but it's just a matter of principle, a matter of honor. If you live in a northern climate and you want to be able to average 27, 28K an hour, go to California, Arizona, make the real sacrifice for the real rewards. Freaking Zwift. Even GCN, Global Cycling Network on YouTube, big on promoting Zwift and indoor training. A bunch of ex-pros talk about being hard men. Oh, it's cold out, let's ride inside. Oh, do 20,000K this year. Every single kilometer will be outside. So on a positive note, lucky to live close enough that I can ride from my house to beautiful trails like this for a beautiful winter riding experience. Would you not agree? But this is awesome. And I'll admit, I'm very happy that I went to a 33 tooth big ring from a 36, especially for the winter riding, snow riding. It's much more realistic chainring size, especially with 5-inch tires, 100mm rims, and the extra weight and stuff, rolling resistance. Less likely to ever have to drop into the granny up front, the 22 tooth up front. And so we got the end of this trail, we get an uphill to get to a parking lot that normally would require the granny gear, so it's gonna hurt. So really, if you're gonna run this thing single chainring, off-road winter use, I think a 28 tooth or a 30 tooth chainring up front would be realistic, especially if you're just running an 1136 in the back, which is what I have. If you have like a 11 speed with a, what is it, a 42 in the back, maybe you could get by with a bigger chainring like a 33. Of course, it all depends on how fit you are. Oh yeah, I kicked the front derailleur down into the granny. So we're on the 22 tooth up front right now. We just started climbing. So there's a really steep pitch around this corner here. Step up. And then the final steep pitch here. Whew. Definitely needed to be in the 22 for that tonight. Okay, we're at 1 hour, 2 more hours to go. So we're gonna stop and take a few gulps from my thermos of Gatorade. So we'll gulp down half of it the first hour, the other half an hour too. Should give us enough calories to finish the ride without bonking. One thing I've noticed as I've gotten fitter is I feel the need to consume less calories on longer rides, meaning that my body has gotten much more efficient at burning fat as a fuel source. And I was already well hydrated when I started, so I have to take a leak again. So temperature started to drop. It's now minus 18.6. It's like minus 17.5 or 7 after the first 30 minutes. So I've also been looking at another bike, adding another bike to my fleet. My first full suspension. So eyeing up the Salsa Bucksaw fat bike or a 27.5 plus bike. So 27.5 plus would be like 40-50 millimeter rims with a 3-inch tire and full suspension. Prices are really high, especially right now with the dollar. Canadian dollar is in the tank. So even for an aluminum pony wrestler, the cheapest pony wrestler in Canada is going to be, I think, over $4,000. Bucksaw, cheapest Bucksaw will be close to $5,000. It's way too much. I think even Specialized and Scott, their entry level plus bikes are quite expensive too. So the one I found that's in my ballpark price range is Da Vinci. It's a Canadian brand. They have a, I think it's called the Da Vinci Hendrix. And it seems like a really good buy. It's like 3,300 Canadian retail. And it's the same suspension design that Salsa uses. But I don't think anybody in my town sells Da Vinci. One of them might be able to order it in, or I'd have to go to Winnipeg to get it. And hell, for that price, I don't know, I could like fly to Winnipeg, stay overnight, buy a bike, rent a car, drive home, and probably still pay less than a Salsa pony wrestler. I think there's still a tree across the trail going this way. It's beautiful, gorgeous. Here it is. Too big to ride or bunny hop or absolutely gorgeous. Winter Wonderland. Nice. Gorgeous. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah, I can just ride here from my house. That's freaking awesome. The joys of living in a small city, isolated small city. Access to stunning natural beauty is almost instantaneous. I think we got a climb coming up here. So we're gonna try and go into Shunya Mines, which is a parcel of land. Used to be a silver mine, I think it was on there. That's why it's called Shunya Mines. And it's a parcel of city land that cycling club asked to develop trails on in the early 90s, and they said yes, go ahead. And it's become kind of our mountain bike park. I haven't been in there yet this winter because it doesn't matter which way you go. There's usually a brutal climb, or lots of climbing just to get there if you're going to ride there. So we have to get on the snowmobile trail here, and we got a steep climb coming up here shortly just to get in there. And it's really soft. I don't even think it's going to be rideable, honestly. We got a steep pitch coming up here. No, sink in. Do a little bit of pushing tonight. And there's one more pitch. This one's even harder. That sucks. It's been a long time since I've had to walk this. It should be rideable. Man, weird snow. There it is. Single track. Somebody's been in here with snowshoes. It looks like they were purposely trying to pack it down. Across the power line. I'll go back into the trail system proper. I think they've chosen a route that they know would be rideable in the wintertime. Wouldn't be able, I don't think you'd be able to ride up this, but it's fun to go down. And I would say starting to feel the limitations of Dillinger 5s. A butt and a loo might be better through snow like this. Yeah, so this is snow conditions where a much more aggressive tire than a Dillinger 5 would be beneficial. Studs don't do anything to help me here. It's rideable, but very slow going. Was nicely snowshoed, but then someone came through here on foot with their dog. I mean, we kind of call this the mountain bike trails, is though. Get annoyed when people come walk through here with their dogs. They better be ready to, of course. There's no real big hills in this trail system. They're all short, steep, or gradual. But then it's beside a trail system that has some hard climbs, but it's all double track. It's essentially a cross-country ski trail, And here it's pretty much all single track, except there's sections of little bits of road, I guess, probably from the mining days. And we got another climb here that switchbacks. How rideable it's going to be. See, tight corner like that, they need to make it wider. Shouldn't complain. Someone came out here to specifically pack this down for riding. Shouldn't complain about them volunteering their time at all. We're gonna stop and let even more air out of these tires. The temperature now is dropped to minus 19 Celsius. We're feeling pretty good temperature wise. My toes, I can just ever so slightly feel a hint of coldness at the tips of my toes, but should be fine. Okay, we let more air out of the tires, and right away for this stuff, noticeably better. Mountain biking is all about air pressure. Tight corner coming up. Start going uphill now, and I don't think it's going to be rideable. So far it's rideable because it's under the canopy, so it didn't get as much snow. Fuck. Shoe covers is one of the problems when you use shoe covers in snow and you're walking through snow, is sometimes it rolls the cover off of over top of the shoe. I don't know, I'm not saying that right. Comes off of covering the toes. exposing your feet to the cold, which is what happened there. And because they're not like a stretchy fabric, I had to get off the bike, take off my gloves to pull them back over top of the toes. Definitely needs to harden up in here or get more traffic. I also think a high volume tire like a Bud and Alou would make a difference in this stuff. A little shrew, tiny little shrew running in the snow I just saw. Instagram photo time. These are pretty fresh tracks. I think someone else is in here right now with us. Change the battery in this camera right now too. So bear with me. Alright, battery changed. Take one more leak. We're at hour 41 minutes, so we'll start heading back towards the LPH trail system, and then if we have to do any more riding to get 3 hours, we'll just finish that riding at the LPH trail system. But yeah, you can ride at -20 when you're in the woods, and it doesn't feel anywhere near as cold as what the temperature actually is when you're sheltered from most of the elements, the wind basically. To here, snowmobile trail. Yeah, strangely, the snowmobile trail hasn't hardened yet, and it's a real slog. Tire breaks through. And I got so much ice built up on my eyelashes right now, I'm having trouble seeing. Don't just pull on the ice when it's on your eyelashes, because you'll pull out your eyelashes. Ideally, take off your gloves and melt it with your fingers. Because if you just pull on the ice, your eyelashes will come out with it. Frick off. Just be rideable, for Christ's sake. It's almost not rideable. Well, it's basically not rideable. Not almost not rideable. Another hill. We have to walk through the conditions. It's weird because it actually feels pretty firm to my feet, but the tire just weirdly breaks through, and when it breaks through, it just skins. There's like no traction, no grip. It's this really fine grained snow that we got, I think, is the culprit. Plus we just need more snowmobile traffic to come through here. And stay on the trail, don't ride on our single track, because they do try and go into our single track. So there is signage that tells them they're supposed to stay just on their snowmobile trail. It's not like we aren't getting a workout, like pushing your fat bike uphill in the snow isn't easy. once we get into the narrowing here, hopefully it becomes more rideable, because they're all ridden over the same spot. If not, we'll have to keep pushing. Not so bad from rideability standpoint. Oh yeah. Fit for tough climbing today anyways. Temperature minus 19.7, so not quite at minus 20 Celsius. So now we get on the fun section that's hard to enjoy in the daytime because there's so much foot traffic. Okay, we're at 2 hours. I'm gonna finish off my Gatorade. So I think I've been drinking like 250 ml an hour. I think this thermos is 500 ml. You can hear the current of Current River. So this was lukewarm when I put it in here. Now it's already cold. Because it's almost minus 20 out. I even preheated this with warm water. Put it back in here. So we got 1 more hour. Riding in the cold. Now we got our 3-hour winter ride. Only my second ever 3-hour winter night ride. I did one a couple weekends ago, but it was when we didn't have that much snow. So I rode at LPH and ended up doing like 50K, which will be the longest winter night ride I've done for time and distance. It was 3 hours and 50K, but be lucky to get 30K with this 3 hours because it's so slow. Conditions are so slow. Toes are starting to feel a little bit colder, but should survive another hour. It's now minus 19.9. Yeah, our average speed is 10.7 kilometers an hour. Very slow. Senior Mines was super slow. Okay, so it finally hit minus 20. Out on the streets here for a bit. system. What up, bitch? We need to do a little more than 45 minutes in here. Do a couple full laps and then the ride home. It's about a 10-minute ride home. Okay, I stopped to change the battery. So this is the 4th battery. So we've been out for 2 hours 40 minutes and I've used 4 GoPro batteries. That's the difference the temperature makes for battery life. Right now it's minus 20.3. Although the very first battery I used had been through the washing machine for a complete cycle. That one only lasted 30 minutes, so I guess going through the washing machine did damage it. So, it's hard to say. If that battery hadn't been damaged, maybe we would have just used 3. But I put in the 4th battery at 2 hours 40 minutes of riding. If you're gonna make bike videos in the cold, you need lots of batteries. If you're using GoPro. Oh, and the battery on my headlamp, I had it on the 2nd highest setting. Just as I had stopped to change the battery, it started flashing, saying that the battery was low. Turned it back on and now I have it on its lowest setting, which really doesn't do much in terms of providing light. So it's not bad considering, but it's a 3.8 volt battery. At the 2nd highest setting, I'm assuming it's like 250 lumens. It lasted, well, considering we did stop a bunch of times to switch batteries, take leaks, take drinks, it did basically last 3 hours in the minus 20 Celsius-ish. So it's pretty good for an old battery. So hands are ever so slightly, now my tips of my fingers are starting to feel cold. My feet, my right foot, just the tips of my toes are a little bit cold. My left foot, my toes are starting to feel a little more deep-rooted cold. So we're going to start heading home now. So in these kinds of temps, for long rides, it's probably better for me to use platform pedals and a heavier duty set of winter boots and flats, as opposed to these cycling shoes with shoe covers. But it's hard to give up the performance of clipless. Alright, we are home. So that is 3 hours and 1 minute. We did 36.2 kilometers, average speed of 12k an hour. It's really slow there in Sheeny Mines. Current temperature is minus 20.7. I didn't wear my heart rate monitor. Max speed 39.7. Where's my vertical? 349 meters of vertical, so not particularly hilly, but fat bike climbing in the snow. Feels like you did quite a bit of climbing tonight. So yeah, there'll be a link, Strava link to this ride in the info box, and there'll be a link to my Instagram account with the pictures I took from tonight's ride, so check those both out.